Come with me and you'll see an event that will exceed your expectations. There's energy all over the Dunkin' Donut Center. There is Rhodes and Rollins kicking off the show super hot, and even Corbin and Moss didn't bring this whole thing crashing down. The Bloodline and RK-Bro plus McIntyre, they tore it up, even though a tag on the leg shouldn't count. Ha ha ha, I'm a genius. I made you think that this show wouldn't be any good, but even Vinnie Mac can still pull one out of his hat. I'm John Retton with my review of WWE WrestleMania Backlash 2022 from the Dunkin' Donut Center in Providence, Rhode Island, and allow me to eat a heaping plate of crow. How I managed to get a bunch of crows on my plate, why I decided to do that, it's a murderer's row of crows, why I decided to have a robot from Mystery Science Theater 3000 on my plate, no goddamn idea. That was a terrible rendition of a classic Willy Wonka song, by the way. But who doesn't love a great Vince McMahon impression? Ha ha ha! So, I will say right now that this event, in the grand scheme of things, probably isn't going to mean much of anything. It was very much a B-level pay-per-view, but the hype was absolutely fucking nil. I had no hype going into this. I had so little hype that when I did my predictions and slammed them at the end of my SmackDown review, taking two videos, Human Centipeding them together to just present one to you, I only made them about 2.5 minutes long, and I will readily admit that this event will probably not stick in my mind as being anything good, but as far as being a 6-match card with really no well, I mean, there was a little bit of bullshit, but really no filler. They didn't put any 24/7 stuff in here. They put a lot of video packages, a lot of recaps. In fact, if they had cut the recaps down, we probably could have had this thing over in about 2 goddamn hours, because they took all the recap packages that they had on the kickoff panel and put them to start that, because maybe they figured, it's okay, people are going to tune in late, and our ratings are dwindling, so nobody's really going to remember this stuff. Let's just hype it up, hype it up, hype it up. But outside of the stuff that I didn't really care about, and I don't think it's really going to take too long to figure out what I didn't care for, this was fun. It was actually a lot of fun. I had fun watching this. Yes, me. I had fun. There were 2 matches also that may end up being in my favorite matches of the year list. So, I did write down, never has a pay-per-view had so little hype heading into it, at least recently. The only one I can think of is Stomping Grounds, where, by the way, they fisted ass and took names. I think that's how that tagline went. That was in the Tacoma Dome. And the Tacoma Dome has a capacity of about 21,000 people, and they only got about 6,000 people there. I was not able to go to that event. I could have gone the very same day and drove down there, but I didn't want to drive down to Tacoma. Enough about Tacoma. Hello, Kayla. My fucking goodness, Kayla looked really good. It's funny that Booker T talks about people, like the way he talks about even his own students, like Ember, she shouldn't say that. I might as well call him Bootlicker T, because the way he acts towards the company, look, I get it. They gave him a big break. They didn't give him his break, because he was well received in WCW and became a five-time WCW champion, or a multi-time WCW champion before WCW ended, and he was part of one of the greatest tag teams of the modern age in Harlem Heat. But he did achieve some success in WWE eventually, despite the Triple H storyline and a bunch of other bullshit and King Booker and all that. And, he's kissing the ass of a company that really didn't utilize him all that well in retrospect. He thinks that he got a big break. Really, WCW used him a whole lot better. How sad is that? Booker T's head is all messed up. So anyway, Steve Patrick. It's funny that JBL talks about woke questions being asked in, such a derogatory light when he blocks anybody like a little bitch that he is. John Bitchaw Layfield. And Walt Disney's second least favorite broadcaster in Rosenberg. MVP is gold on the mic. He hypes up Edward James Omos and says that Lashley is good, but Edward James Omos is better. I'm going to keep calling him Edward James Omos until he stops looking like a deer on ice. Later, Moss joins the panel and he says, nothing can get these pants off. INX has said that. Let me tell you right now, that was very easy to get the pants off. You didn't even need to give her any liquor, and you didn't even need to poke her anywhere. Enough about this, since I pretty much have, run off any of the women that watch my show, all 5 of them. Let's talk about the big old, video package, the opening video package. I timed some of this stuff. There was about 8 to 10 minutes between each match, where they had video packages and hype packages and all that stuff and everything. Adrenaline in my soul. Providence is out of control. So we get commentary right into a Cody Seth package, which was from the kickoff. Over 10 minutes, and there we go. Rhodes versus Rollins 2, Electric Codaloo. Okay, was it good? Yes, I would argue this is better than their Mania match. It was cool to see Cody show up at Mania 38, by the way, the most stupendous two-night WrestleMania in WWE history. But I still argue that one became a bit more of a spot fest. Don't get me wrong, there were some spots in this, but I feel that this was more of a wrestling match, and they built his stuff better. That's my personal opinion. I'm sticking to it. I'm not saying that the Mania match was bad, but this was worth it. Seth dominated most of it, a lot of it, and commentary mentioning how Cody, they danced around what Cody has been doing for the last 6 years. Oh, he has ring rust. Yeah, it's not like he hasn't kept things going, but can't talk about that. Cody did say at one point, oh, my shoulder. Ow, my shoulder. I'm not supposed to get barricade in it. We get a sunset flip for 2. We get a delayed superplex. We get a lot of good counters. We get a big old frog splash. I mean, Rollins almost hit the goddamn lights. Fists of lights right there. We get a Falcon Arrow. He's done the deal. Oh, my God. People kick out of the Falcon Arrow. Excalibur, you lied. You lied to me. And we get a crossroad and foot on the rope. Missed moonsault. A pedigree for 2. And then we get one crossroad. We get another counter. And then we get the tights being held by Seth, and then Cody rolls through, holds the tights, 1, 2, 3. So Cody gets the victory, outsmarts Seth, and almost gets it right up there in his freaking hole. But that was good. They're going to build up to a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell, obviously, and that's taking place on a Sunday. Fitting, because most churches are pure fucking hell anyway. I open the floor to people getting upset at me. I don't really care. You don't know the experiences I've had in churches. So anyway, Lashley, a good match though. Actually, really good match. One of my favorite matches of the year. Really, really good shit. Lashley video package, recaps, entrances. Lashley was on the pedestal. We are 8 minutes, from the previous match before we get to Edward James Omos versus Lashley, and oh no. The crowd was shitting on this whenever Edward James Omos had the advantage. Lashley got the crowd back. MVP eventually hit a cane shot after a post spot and the choke bomb 1, 2, 3. This feud's going to continue. This feud should have never started in the first place. This is bad. Edward James Omos is trying, but tag team matches hid the fact he is not very good. The Nigerian Giant Gonzalez. I said Nigerian. Hulk, put away the spray can. Well, Hulk's just going to do his own thing. Hell in a Cell on a Sunday. Oh no, let all the religious people's heads explode. So, 10 more minutes of ads, recaps, Edgertaker entrance. That's what he is now. I know this is something he wants to do, but it's just ridiculous. The House of Black is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. So, the Mountain of Omnipotence community. I don't know why I sounded like I was doing some kind of old serial. Late that night, April 14th, 1942. Where was I? So, Styles versus the Edgertaker. Priest was banned from ringside. That's fine. You should ban all priests, especially from the little boys' corner. So, Styles jump starts, and we get a moonsault outside, and then shoulder focus by Edge for a long while. Where Styles is his own worst enemy, yet when TNA Creative and I say it, and then we get Edge just doing some good. We get the calf crusher, we get spots of the ropes. That was pretty cool. And we get a turnbuckle spot where Edge just goes into it for a 2 count. The crowd was not into this. They were kind of into the finish. I don't think these two click as well as people were hoping. They clicked well at Mania. It went on too long. This didn't go on as long as their match at Mania, which was like 26 minutes. I think it was about 16 to 18. And if it was the latter, then Jerry Lawler's no longer interested in it. We get a Styles clash, and then it took him a while, and he gets a 2 count. Priest shows up, but he's barred from ringside. But technically, he's at the line, the invisible wall, I guess, where he's not at ringside. He's in the aisleway. But then Balor fists him from behind. Let me tell you right now, when an Irishman, clad in leather, fists you from behind, you're going to go down. Don't ask me how I know that. And then, suddenly, a mysterious person in brutality pants. Wonder who that could be. Trips Styles, and he falls off the ropes. And then we get a crossface, and Styles passes out. A Canadian wrestler who's also a family man who won the Royal Rumble for #1 position using the crossface.
to finish off somebody else. Seen the story before. God, you know, I don't know. I feel like I would contact the guy's wife, but she's kind of tied up in a phone call. And the son's asleep with the pillow on his face. So let's move on from that, since that was slightly tasteless. Rhea is the person. Oh my God, it's Rhea. Rhea with dark hair. My goodness. I mean, Rhea's a goddess. Anyway, she looks even better with dark hair. This is interesting, especially since we're going to put Liv in the group and we're going to get faction warfare. Because faction warfare always works out in wrestling. Always works out in wrestling. It works out in New Japan, used to. It works out in AEW, at times. And now, it's going to work out with made-up factions here. Whatever, Judgment Day versus the Not Bullet Club. I mean, okay, Rhea's there, let's see what happens. I don't have any faith this is going to make the TV product any better, but at least if they deliver on the premium live events, then it will be fine. So, we get a Bianca package, we get an I Quit package, and Ronda Rousey is now Rousey the Raccoon. Look at that freaking makeup. Not only will she refuse to pay trans, not only is she pointing at a goddamn screen or whatever and saying, I'm just going to point at the WrestleMania sign, I'm going to point at this, nah. And the Mania sign isn't there. Also, somebody tried to hook her, and she immediately denied a hook took place. Yes, you know what I'm fucking saying. Rousey the Raccoon, though, took on Charlotte. And it's Rousey the Raccoon, and Charlotte lacking all kinds of flair. I Quit match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. To become Women's Champions, you must utter these two words, I quit. Michael Cole is really fucking bad at his job and is not worthy of being a wrestling commentator, never was. So, Brett versus Backlund, by the way, was a better I Quit match. I know there are some people that are going to like this. That's fine. I didn't. I didn't care for this feud. Will I say that the match was the absolute worst? No. But will I say I liked it? No. There was the Timekeeper's Pit, because everything's a fucking pit now, because apparently we're in a D&D campaign. So at one point, Charlotte goes to the back, gets some kendo sticks, and does this, and she's double fisting the kendo sticks, and tries to hit her, and that doesn't work, and then boom, 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 boom. She tosses the camera at her, and they go into the crowd, and at one point, Rousey gets tangled up in a, stair rail. That's what she gets for railing against her. We get a bad chair spot. We get an announcer's table spot. Armbar in the ropes, and Charlotte's screaming and screaming. Shout out to Skinny Mysterio, by the way, on Twitter for coming up with a particular caption for a video. Check her out, at Skinny Mysterio on Twitter, if you want to see what I'm saying. My fucking goodness, I was laughing. When I saw that video, I could barely pay attention to the main event. But I haven't heard screams like that from somebody since, they released a taste from the Benoit household. So, or maybe, from the Von Erich household after 1993. Let's move on from that. Natural selection on the chair. Oh no. Is that the Fiend in the front row, Pat said at one point. Oh boy, Pat's getting fine. Not that Pat cares. Pat's got tons of money. And even though Pat loves what he does, Pat could go right back to his goddamn show and not miss a beat. I think Vince knows that. Anyway, figure eight and bad chair shot. I'm going to hit her in the butt. God, just somebody shout Sandy Hook at Ronda so she gets confused. So, happy Mother's Day, bitch. Go back to China, bitch. Anybody know what that's from? Anybody remember that movie? You shouldn't. It was kind of rubbish. It was quotable, but it was rubbish. Armbar! Hold number 1. And oh no, Charlotte quit. Rousey the Raccoon wins. Can she pay trans to get home? Trans rights are human rights, you fucking twat. Anyway, good. Rousey's the champion. Yay. I know there are people that like it. Whatever. I don't fucking care. Let's pick up some time. Cody plugs a pay-per-view in Vegas. Wonder what other companies in Vegas for pay-per-view. Oh, right. But whatever. Competition is healthy. And controversy creates ass. I think that's how that went. So, it's for Money in the Bank, which is going to be in Divergent Allegiant Stadium. God, if only Shailene Woodley, or however the fuck you pronounce her name, didn't turn out to be a freaking goddamn lunatic. So, they will win a chance to main event WrestleMania. Only Seth Rollins has ever main evented WrestleMania with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Recaps of Moss and Corbin. Moss and Corbin, fuck no, in what universe does this deserve to be on a goddamn pay-per-view? Premium live event. There were boos and boring chants, and Moss won with a sunset flip. Also, Corbin was wrestling in dress shoes. Let's move on. Drew McIntyre, gets a video package. They get to see Drew McIntyre's package. Stop thinking about it. You know who you are. I know you're thinking about it. Stop it. Get some help. So, Charlotte has suffered a fracture of the labius. Is that like Morbius? I think labius is what they said. I don't really care. So Drew pulls it out in front of thousands. His sword. I run a clean show. And grasshoppers for Riddle. Bloodline entrance. Bloodline versus RK Bro and Drew McIntyre. Again, shout out to Skinny Mysterio for that tweet because I was laughing too hard to really notice this match is just all action and ridiculousness. But you know what? It wasn't dull, and it was one of my favorite matches of the year. I encourage people to check out this match. It's a lot of fun, and that's despite the fact, that Riddle is in it. And I don't really care for Riddle, but Riddle can go in the goddamn ring. Boy, they kept the pace up. And eventually we get a melee, and we get, a table bump for Drew. And then a spear for 3. And Riddle gets pinned. Hooray! Match was great. Match was a lot more fun than it had any right to be. That still doesn't mean that it's going to be, that still doesn't mean that this pay-per-view is going to be anything, that's going to be anything hugely memorable outside maybe those 2 matches. They kept the pace up, though, and it was under 3 hours. I will give them credit for that. But still, because Rousey the Raccoon is the women's champion, and they had me choosing between Rousey the Raccoon and Charlotte Flair, I must crumple up the notes in protest there. That being said, though, fun pay-per-view. Let me know. Premium live event. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.